Hey guys, MarkAngelo here. Gosh, yesterday I wanted to make a video last night. I thought I would get off of work around 7. Turns out, and this is a pattern from where I work at the deli and Walmart, people just don't show up for work, you know? So you're kind of, actually, there was a lady who was scheduled with another employee, and the other employee got stuck working by himself that night, so he called in the next day that he wasn't coming in. So I felt bad for her, so I stayed to help her out, and I had already been in since 10 in the morning, so I pulled a 12-hour. And let me tell you, the kind of work that is done there is heavy-duty work. I mean, I've worked all my life since I was 13. I've worked in the food industry, fast food industry. This place takes a toll. I mean, it's just way too much work for an individual, and they have too much expectation, yet they don't provide you with the materials that you need to be able to perform the job that you should be performing. You're understaffed. People that do go to work are tired of it. They don't care. There's very low morale. I mean, I'm getting ready to, I already spoke to a manager, but obviously he fluffed it off, so I'm going to go above him because it's just wrong, you know? And if such is the case, then I'll just get transferred. I don't care. I'd rather put boxes and put stuff in the shelf than, you know? And my original reason for joining Walmart was to grow with a company, because it's a big company. It's everywhere. You can transfer wherever, all over the world. And then, you know, you could grow. But I don't want any management position looking at what's going on there. The managers are overworked. They're on salaries, so they will work them to death. And they just don't care about their employees, bottom line. You know, I'm like doing a job that's going so against my entire core. You know, they throw food away like it's nothing, you know, because they're too afraid of getting a lawsuit with any kind of foodborne illnesses or whatever. And then they overmake food, which is putting strain on the employees to then have to take these foods and chill them and measure. And it's just crazy. It's crazy. So needless to say, I'm not a happy camper. You know, I got to go in today at 1 and close. And I pray to God that whoever else is scheduled to close with me shows up. You know, as it is, 2 people is not enough for closing because it's a big place and there's a lot of stuff to do. Anyway, enough about that. I've been thinking, what else can I talk about? I pretty much, you know, have spewed everything about my life. The title today is Eating Disorders. And I find that many of us in the LGBTQ community have some form of eating disorder. And I have often thought about why. Why is that? You know, what's the reason that many of us deal with that body dysmorphic issues, with gender issues, you know? Because, I mean, gender is really, if you think about it, it's a very minute part of who we are. Very minute. It's not huge. It's not really a big deal. You know, how many course of the day, or in the course of the day, how many people really think about their gender and how it affects them, you know? Obviously, people with gender dysphoria, you know, think about it all the time. But I believe, and this is my opinion, that there's something deeper to that. And I've always thought that. And anyway, with me, you know, and what I've looked at throughout, you know, my life and years, that, you know, the fact that I had an abusive alcoholic father, you know, the fact that I got sexually molested, the fact that I didn't trust men, the fact that I was trying to create that perfect guy in me, kind of like the guy that I would want in my life, you know? So it's a pretty complex topic, and a lot of people wear their feelings on their sleeves, and they don't like to hear anything but their little black and white definition of what gender dysphoria is and what they feel and all that. And, you know, hey, everybody's entitled to their views and opinion. I respect them. I think that one of the reasons many of us have eating disorders is because, like an anorexic or a bulimic, it's one of those things that we can't control. So, for instance, when I was in high school, I was a combination of anorexia and bulimia. I mean, I would eat till I couldn't eat anymore, and then I would throw up, you know. And I'm sure many of you, and I've known a lot of trans guys and even trans women that are anorexic and bulimic. We find that that's like a sense of control. Okay, we control what we put in, or we try to attempt to. That's why the throwing up comes in, because when we fail, we want to get it all out. You know, we want to run away from certain things, and food becomes, you know, gosh, food becomes such a thing, you know, with us. I remember in high school, I mean, that was just like the biggest torture of mine, you know. And then my father had a restaurant, and, you know, I had easy access to food, and I didn't want to eat certain things. And then I didn't know anything about nutrition. I just ate and ate and ate, you know, ate all the wrong foods and drank sodas and partied and drank, and, you know, it's crazy stuff. And then I've noticed all my life, you know, went on this roller coaster yo-yoing until I finally put an end to it by educating myself regarding proper nutrition and proper working outs and things of that nature. And I made it a career, pretty much. I think also those of us who have been sexually molested tend to have, you know, eating disorders. And I think a lot of that is, you know, the body being touched inappropriately. You know, we want to build this armor of protection, you know, muscles, and we feel dirty, you know, most of us that have been sexually molested. Although I learned to make peace with myself with that. And, you know, you would think, and most people who have been sexually molested don't like being touched, don't like sex. You know, with me, it was on the contrary. You know, I was a very curious child, and I wanted to learn so much about feeling sexually. You know, the guy who sexually molested me would bring me magazines and things like that, and I'd be reading and learning and masturbating at a very young age. You know, and to this day, it's really bizarre, but I kind of prefer to pleasure myself than to have, you know, intimate relationships, because because of the sexual molestation, that intimacy is just not there because it's seen as dirty. So, I mean, there was a point in my life there that I used to watch porn all the time. You know, I broke away from that addiction being with Lena. There was a lot of healingness during that time, because you know, I no longer needed alcohol. I no longer needed porn. You know, I guess certain needs were being met, you know, in that relationship. But prior to that, I used to, you know, I would always prefer to pleasure myself, you know, and, you know, prefer to watching porn and all that stuff. And like I said, I broke free from that during the past 3 years. And I say that even now, I don't have any desire to watch porn. And not to say that porn's bad. I mean, whatever floats anybody's boat. I believe that it serves a purpose. The industry serves a purpose in its own way. And, you know, I'm no one to judge. And I know I used to love it, so why would I judge it? And as far as masturbation is concerned, you know, it's one way of knowing that there's no one invading the body, that it becomes an intimate relationship with self, you know. And, you know, especially when those of us that have been molested, I don't know, it's like, how would I explain this? It's like, okay, no one's going to be invading my body but myself. No one's worthy of touching my body but myself, unless you let someone in. And as I've mentioned before in other videos, I've always had a hard time letting people in. The only person that I let in after Denise White was Lena. And that kind of worries me now because I don't know how I would react to the next person that enters my life. You know, I don't know if I'm going to be willing, you know, to allow another person into my life, or am I going to go back to the behavior of just, hey, vegan-y. Wow, brother. Yeah, so there we go. You're the same way, and there's definitely something to it. You know, we crave relationships because we crave, like you had mentioned before, and one of my other, or it wasn't our private interaction, um, but at the same time we crave it. But you know, it's like I prefer my own company. I prefer the lack of complication in a relationship because it almost seems like one has to give so much of self and one never gets back in return, not even a third of what one puts out. And then the disappointment. I mean, does that happen to you too? Do you feel like, okay, you're putting all this out and then in the end you're getting disappointed because a person never turns out to be at all what they advertise themselves to be, you know? So I find that, you know, that the eating disorders, as I was talking about earlier, and, you know, yeah, yes, disappointment, definitely, you know, because it's just no one ever really measures up. And it's sad. I mean, I truly long for that true twin to come along and really connect 100%, you know, without any, gosh, no obstacles, no boundaries, no, you know, it's just like pure love and essence and like just, you know, dive in there. And to this day, I'm 54 and I'm yet to find that, you know, I'm yet to find that. It's pretty sad. That's why I kind of like, I don't want to say I gave up, but I kind of feel that, I don't know, I'm 54 and I'll probably die alone or just, you know, date and have fun. But I don't think I ever want to commit myself again the way that I committed in this last relationship because it didn't work, you know? It didn't work. I mean, I find that pleasuring myself, and gosh, maybe it's TMI here, but ever since, you know, I got back on testosterone, which, let's see, he says, yes, they say I have a high standards. I want what I give out. Most women expect men to give all and not them. And that's today's women, you know, that's today's women, which is really sad because it's the way society has turned things around. And I know I'm going to get slack from this from a lot of feminists and whatever else, but gosh, you know, I don't think women 100 years ago are the same as they are now. And not to say that, you know, I'm not a male chauvinist pig or anything by that nature, but, you know, I believe that like everything in life, you know, everyone has a role. And if you play that role and you get satisfaction from it, you know, then everything runs smoothly. You know, if there's two leaders or two followers, things just kind of don't work right because, you know, it's confusing. So, and I believe in teamwork completely. I'm not saying, you know, woman, you go do the dishes while I sit here watch football. That's wrong too. I'm the kind of person that, hey, I want to help. You know, I want to be able to, if you're washing dishes, I want to dry them. If I'm washing them, hey, you dry them, that kind of thing. But I think what's lacking in today's world and today's relationship is that teamwork. And in the old days, you know, the guy would go out to work or work the farm, and sometimes even a woman would work the farm with a guy, but there was a teamwork there. And it was like appreciation and true respect and true love. We are missing that today. Yes, I believe in teamwork. There isn't no teamwork. Exactly. Exactly. Women just want to go out, have fun, drink, you know, buy their garments and go shopping. And, you know, it's just, I don't know. I think guys today are lazy as heck. Where I work at now, I'm 54, and the guys there are like 20 something. They're as lazy as can be. Lazy. They're always cutting corners, and you know, it's like, and then corporation expect you to like do everything fast. Well, if you do everything fast, you're going to go cut corners and you're going to make mistakes, and then it all just trickles down. It's like I hate it, man. I don't know about you, but my department, I'm getting ready to try to transfer. Although they say you have to wait 6 months. If they don't let me transfer, I'm looking elsewhere because I can't. I mean, it's just too much work. I don't know where you work at, Yeah, guys became lazy this generation. Totally, totally. I think it's all the computers and all the gaming and all the, it's just, people just don't have the same standards as they used to. They really don't. So anyways, I was talking about, since I've been on testosterone back up again, because I had stopped for almost a year and I lost all my sex drive, completely lost all my sex drive. And now that I'm back on T, it's like, whoa, okay, man down below is wanting to work. And it's just so easy. You know, I don't even have to watch porn. And it's, you know, then the other, it's like, you gotta work up to it, and you have to, and not there's anything wrong with it. I love foreplay, I love kissing, I love caressing, I love cuddling, I love all that romantic stuff. You know, it's great, but there's always an expectation, like, okay, I hope they're feeling what I'm doing. And then if they're not making you feel the way you want to feel, you're like, I would have done a better job on my own, you know, that kind of thing. But I don't know, I'm crazy. I'm crazy. I'm probably, it's TMI. I'm going to get myself in trouble like I always do because I have no filters. No filters whatsoever. But yeah, you know, do you find that you have an eating disorder as well? Yeah, some days I just want to screw, don't want the foreplay. I hear you. I hear you. Wham, bam, thank you, man. Yeah, it's, and then when you invest in feelings, you know, and you get screwed over, you're like, why did I even invest in feelings for? I mean, when it's like other things are more important to them than me, you know, that kind of thing. It's just crazy stuff. Do you find, because of you've been sexually molested, that has led to eating disorders of sorts? If you don't mind sharing. I mean, I find that a lot of people that were sexually molested or were made fun of because they were different, either too feminine or, you know, had different sexual preference. Yes, yeah. I think that's one of the reasons, you know, it's the whole vegan thing for me is, it's like a discipline, you know, besides the fact that I like putting right foods in my body, because it's, I find that if I don't, my body feels yucky. I used to overeat. Food come from me. Yeah, I was bulimic. I talked about that in the beginning of the video. I was bulimic and anorexic, you know, which was pretty messed up. And I would like, just wouldn't know when to stop. Cereal was one of those foods that I could just, you know, that's why I bought some cereal and granola and stuff like that. Healthy stuff, but if I'm not careful, I could go overboard, you know. And very easy, and especially when you're vegan, because you're trying to get all your nutrients in. So you're like, okay, I could eat. So I'm gonna stop that cereal thing and just make protein shakes, plant-based protein and fruit and peanut butter, and just make me a nice thick, add some glutamine in there at night so that I could, you know, keep putting on the muscle. And that way I don't buy any of these cereal bars or things like that, because I've been kind of getting a little bit lazy because of work. I'm trying to buy things that's easy. Yes, cereal, I overate when I was non-vegan. Yeah, you could even overeat with cereal being vegan. I mean, I use soy milk, and I buy, you know, just cereals that are vegan friendly, and I could go to town, and I add nuts and flax and dry fruits, and I mean, protein powder and peanut butter. I mean, I just make this bail, and I could just down that thing like no tomorrow. And I, you know, I don't want to start putting on weight. I'm starting to see my abs disappear a bit and getting a bit, and I think it's from all that packaged stuff, because it contains things in there that are not good for me. So I'm definitely gonna change my regimen here and just all pure, you know, wholesome stuff, and stay away from packaged goods. A little more work. What I'm thinking about doing is probably making a bunch of food for 4 days or so like that, freezing it, and then having it for you know, lunch and dinner. Yeah, packaged stuff is bad, really bad. You know, it just has, and I find it, it's like I get swollen like in the mornings. I don't know, it's from work, because my work is very physical. I mean, we have to get out these big old huge pans of oil from the rotisserie chicken, pick it up, and then put it inside a bucket. All these, like, we fry foods all day, and these things are filled, you know, and not only are you worried about getting splattered with the oil, but they're heavy. So my hands, just like, I feel my tendons are killing me. I'm not used to that kind of heavy work. You can feel what it does to you. Well, definitely, I feel it. Like, I feel like a bit congested. My eyes feel puffy. My hands, as I was saying, I don't know if it's from the work or from what I've been eating, but this morning I was like, damn, my hands feel swollen, my tendons, and they're sore. You know, I'm all cut up. I can see it here from, you guys can see it. It's like everything is like heavy and edgy, and I get burned all the time. I'm like, oh man, what have I gotten myself into? You know, like, these guys are 20 something. That's no big deal to them, but for me, it's like, whoa, you know. And I'm thinking to myself, God, if they only knew I was born female. And I'm like, I don't want to seem like a wuss half the time, but I'm like, oh God, this is heavy, you know, all day long. I mean, yesterday, 12 hours because somebody just didn't show up. I better not have to, you know. Oh, it's crazy, crazy stuff. I'm just tired. I mean, and then, you know, I don't go to bed till like, yesterday I didn't get home till like 10:30. By the time I shower, oh, then there's no hot water. And something happened to the water heater. It's been 2 nights that I've had to take cold showers. And that sucks because I'm looking like forward to a nice warm shower so I could, my muscles are sore and stuff. And, you know, according to the guy, he doesn't think it'll get fixed till tomorrow. So I'm like, stop, you know? So I'm just exhausted. Deli is hard work, especially closing it. Yeah, and that's what usually, even like yesterday, I wasn't even scheduled to close. I worked from 10 to 7. Like I mentioned, the lady, somebody didn't show up, and the lady was going to do it by herself. This lady's 60 years old. I felt so bad. I stayed and helped her, you know, and helped close. And it's hard to do just 2 people. Imagine 2 people and just a little 60-year-old little lady, you know. I was like, oh man. But I didn't have the heart to let her do it on her own. She would have been there until this morning. It takes quite the time closing. It's hard. No one likes it. They can't keep people there. You know, they need to change something, but management just doesn't do anything. So anyway, 22 minutes. Yeah, it's tough stuff, you know. All right, I'm going to get ready and probably going to look for a song to do. Not in this live video, but I'm going to make another video of my song. I'll do a cover since I didn't originally yesterday. But yeah, I just wanted to touch base about the eating disorder, the body dysmorphia, you know, and a lot of that has to do with abuse, whether it's sexual abuse, mental, verbal abuse, you know, that we go through. And a lot of people in the LGBT community don't want to accept that. You know, they don't want that stigma. But, you know, I always say that you can't heal unless you have awareness. And not to say that every single person in the LGBT community has had some terrible happenings or trauma as childhood, but I think more so than not. And those who have not, lucky, you know, very lucky. Have fun, Mark. I'm going back to work. I was on break. Chat with you later. Take care, dude. And I feel you. Walmart. Yeah, or shopping is a pleasure or something like that. Anyway, guy, thank you so much for tuning in. Catch you later. All right, guys, thank you once again for tuning in. I don't know how many more of the series I'm going to make unless there's some sort of, because I pretty much covered my entire life. Unless you guys have questions, particularly, I think my life, the series, has pretty much come to an end. Unless I think of something else that, you know, this is something important, but I pretty much covered a lot of, you know, my happenings and thereabouts and why I do what I do. And, you know, it's not an easy life, you know, and I guess no one said life was going to be easy, but, you know, I hope that people could really go within, reflect, instead of lashing out to others, try to understand themselves a little bit more, because it makes life easier when you understand why you behave the way you do instead of always blaming other people. I've often say I love my parents, and they weren't given a manual. They weren't. They did the best they could. I'm sure that they didn't realize what they were doing, and I hold no ill effects whatsoever. I don't even hold ill effect on the man who molested me, because, I learned so much, at such a young age about sex. I don't know, kids don't have to and shouldn't have to learn that. But, I don't know. I don't have any regrets in anything that's happened in my life. The only regret I have is letting go of my license as an occupational therapist, having now to work for pittance. I'm sitting there picking up these oily pans and lifting stuff and going, damn, you're making $45 an hour training people how to eat again, or, teaching them how to shower again and doing all sorts of rehab with people. And I went to school and I, paid 10 years worth of student loans and all this stuff that I just, like an idiot, But I found out another lady is working in the bakery, which is side by side the deli, an occupational therapist assistant, also working at the deli, let her license go because there's no work here in Silver City for her, and to keep up the license, you're looking at 20 continuing education courses every year, which costs an arm and a leg. Those courses are $400, and usually it's crazy. And a lot of companies don't reimburse you, She was saying something about pharmacy technician in Walmart. They train you, then you have, I don't know how long to get your certificate. She said it's not that hard to pass. And the continuing education courses are being paid for by Walmart. So I might look into that. I don't know. I putting applications left, right, and center for other places, because I'm just too old for that kind of hard work, and I want to feel that if whatever it is that I'm doing gives me pleasure. So, all right, guys, love you. But remember to always love yourselves too. Bye-bye.